Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military leaders and explore the strategic mind and moral character that shaped their decisions. Today, we're going to examine the life of Louis XIV, one of the most iconic monarchs in European history. Known as the Sun King, Louis XIV ruled France with absolute authority, leaving an enduring legacy in politics, culture, and warfare. To understand the complexities of Louis XIV's character and his remarkable achievements, we must begin by exploring his formative years. Born on September 5, 1638, at the Château de Saint-Germain-en-Laye, Louis XIV was the firstborn son of King Louis XIII and Queen Anne of Austria. The future king's birth was a significant event in French history, as it marked the end of a long period of childlessness for the royal couple. As we vividly imagine the scene at the Château de Saint-Germain-en-Laye, we find ourselves surrounded by the opulence and grandeur of 17th-century France. The castle's stunning architecture, with its imposing towers and majestic gardens, was a fitting backdrop for the arrival of the future king. Louis XIV's early life was shaped by the intricate web of alliances and rivalries within the royal court, where his mother, Queen Anne, played a crucial role in securing the regency after King Louis XIII's death in 1643. Cardinal Mazarin, an Italian-born cleric and statesman, emerged as a dominant figure during this period, guiding Queen Anne's decisions and shaping the young king's education. Under Mazarin's tutelage, Louis XIV received a rigorous training in politics, diplomacy, and military strategy, which would serve him well in his future endeavors. The cardinal's influence extended beyond the realm of politics, as he also encouraged Louis XIV's appreciation for the arts, including music, dance, and theater. As we explore the early life of Louis XIV, it becomes clear that his formative years were a complex interplay of privilege, duty, and circumstance. The future Sun King was being groomed for greatness, but the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, opportunities, and transformative experiences that would shape him into one of history's most remarkable leaders. Louis XIV's education was tailored to prepare him for his future role as king. He received instruction in Latin, Greek, Spanish, and Italian, as well as mathematics, astronomy, and geography. He was also trained in the arts of war, including fencing, horsemanship, and military tactics. The young prince showed a particular aptitude for dance, music, and theater, which would later become hallmarks of his court. The influence of his mother, Queen Anne, was also significant during Louis XIV's early years. She instilled in him a strong sense of duty, loyalty, and devotion to the French monarchy. The Queen was a devout Catholic and ensured that her son received a thorough education in theology and scripture. This early exposure to Catholicism would shape Louis XIV's worldview and inform his future policies. As we delve deeper into the historical context of Louis XIV's early years, we find ourselves immersed in the tumultuous world of 17th-century European politics. The 30 Years' War had left its mark on the continent, and the French monarchy was navigating a complex web of alliances and rivalries with other European powers. The young king's education was designed to prepare him for the challenges of statecraft, diplomacy, and warfare, which would soon become his reality. In 1648, when Louis XIV was just 10 years old, the Peace of Westphalia marked the end of the 30 Years' War, but it also created new opportunities and challenges for France. The treaty recognized French sovereignty over several territories, including Alsace and parts of Lorraine, which would become crucial components of Louis XIV's future expansionist policies. With his privileged upbringing, rigorous education, and strong family influences, he was well equipped to navigate the complexities of 17th-century European politics. In 1661, when Louis XIV was just 22 years old, he took control of the French government, marking the beginning of his personal rule. With Mazarin's passing in 1661, Louis XIV saw an opportunity to assert his authority and consolidate power. One of Louis XIV's most significant achievements was the establishment of absolute monarchy in France. He believed that he was answerable only to God, and thus he should have complete control over the government and the people. To achieve this, he centralized power, created a powerful bureaucracy, and reduced the influence of the nobility. Louis XIV's military campaigns were another key aspect of his reign. He expanded France's borders through a series of successful wars, including the War of Devolution, the Franco-Dutch War, and the War of the League of Augsburg. His military innovations, such as the use of artillery and fortifications, allowed him to conquer strategic territories like Alsace, Lorraine, and Franche-Comté. The Sun King's passion for architecture and the arts also left a lasting legacy. He commissioned numerous iconic buildings, including the Palace of Versailles, which became the epitome of French grandeur and elegance. The palace's stunning gardens, fountain shows, and opulent interiors were designed to awe visitors and showcase the king's wealth and power. Louis XIV was also a patron of the arts, supporting renowned artists like Molière, Racine, and Lully. He established the Académie des Sciences, which became a hub for scientific inquiry and discovery, and encouraged the development of French literature, music, and dance. The Sun King's domestic policies were equally significant. He implemented reforms to improve the economy, including the creation of a uniform system of weights and measures, the establishment of a national bank, and the promotion of trade and commerce. He also invested in infrastructure, building roads, canals, and bridges that facilitated transportation and communication. As we explore the reign of Louis XIV, it becomes clear that his leadership, vision, and character had a profound impact on French history. His expansionist policies, military innovations, and cultural achievements continue to inspire and instruct us to this day. The War of the Spanish Succession, which lasted from 1701 to 1714, was one of the most significant conflicts of Louis XIV's later years. This global war, involving many of the major powers of Europe, including Spain, Austria, England, and France, was sparked by the question of who would succeed Charles II of Spain. Louis XIV's grandson, Philip of Anjou, was named as the successor, but this move was met with resistance from other European powers, leading to a prolonged and costly war for France. Despite the challenges posed by the War of the Spanish Succession, Louis XIV remained resolute in his pursuit of French interests. However, the economic troubles that plagued France during this period took their toll on the king and his people. The constant need for funds to support the war effort, coupled with a series of bad harvests and the burden of taxation, led to widespread discontent among the population. In addition to these external challenges, Louis XIV's personal life was also marked by significant events during this period. His relationship with Madame de Maintenon, whom he married in secret after the death of his first wife, Marie Thérèse, brought him comfort and companionship in his later years. Madame de Maintenon was known for her intelligence, her strong character, and her influence over the king, which helped to moderate some of his more extreme tendencies. The Sun King's family life was also a source of both joy and sorrow during this period. His son, the Grand Dauphin, died in 1711, leaving Louis XIV to ponder the future of the French monarchy. The eventual succession of his great-grandson, Louis XIV, after Louis XIV's death, would mark the beginning of a new era for France, one that would be shaped by the foundations laid by the Sun King. As Louis XIV approached the end of his life, he reflected on his achievements and the legacy he would leave behind. The Palace of Versailles, which had been his pride and joy, stood as a testament to his vision and ambition. The absolute monarchy he had established had brought stability and glory to France, but it also sowed the seeds for future conflicts and revolutions. Louis XIV died on September 1, 1705, at the age of 76, after a reign that had lasted for 72 years. His legacy is complex and multifaceted, reflecting both the brilliance and the flaws of his character. He was a king who embodied the spirit of his age, a man of immense energy, vision, and determination, but also one capable of great ruthlessness and extravagance. He was a monarch who left an indelible mark on the political, cultural, and architectural landscape of France and beyond. His story serves as a reminder of the power of leadership, vision, and character to shape the course of nations and inspire future generations. In reflecting on Louis XIV's life, we are reminded of his own words, "L'État, c'est moi," which encapsulate his belief in the divine right of kings and his role as the embodiment of France. This conviction guided him throughout his reign, leading to both magnificent achievements and profound challenges. As we look back on the reign of Louis XIV, the Sun King, we are left with a deep appreciation for the complexities of history and the enduring legacy of one of Europe's most fascinating monarchs. His story continues to captivate us, offering insights into the human experience, the nature of power, and the timeless quest for glory and greatness. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography, reminding you to keep marching toward victory.